Hi, and welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation focused on youth mental health. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that all content that is found in our podcast is created for informational purposes only. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard in this podcast. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tadika Foundation podcast. I'm your host Poonam and I have Diane Tillman with me today. We are talking about the Living Value Education, and during the last episode we did learn about the mind mapping technique. Diane beautifully explained it with the value of honesty. But I'm like wondering, Diane, if we can apply it to other values like peace. You did mention like bullying. So I really wanted to know more about the peace and how do we apply that value in our today's world. Because I do feel there is a tremendous need for all of us to learn about this value and live this value.
Thank you for them very much. Yes, I can see on your face, which everyone else doesn't have the opportunity to do right now, that you very much like peace. That's wonderful. Yes, mind mapping is a wonderful thing to do with peace as well. And to do it with peace contrasting with violence or peacelessness, depending on whether you're talking about individuals and within the self, or whether you're talking about interactions in families or within the community or in the world. Regarding peace, the first thing we usually do is when we start living values is we start with having the young people imagining a peaceful world. So you may want to say, today I'd like us to discuss peace. Who can tell me about peace? What is peace? What does it mean to have a peaceful world? And I remember I did this with some 11 and 12-year-olds who were in a gang area, in an area with 3 gangs. And they were strongly heading in that direction. And this is before living values, but I remember setting 4 of them around a round table with me and having them imagine a peaceful world. And then afterwards, I covered the round table with a large piece of butcher paper, and I had them draw what they imagined. And it was a very interesting phenomena for me, because what happened is that these kids who were so hardened and who didn't want to talk to me and who were in your face started talking about all the things they would really like to see in the world. And then, since they had opened their mind with their own ideas, innate understanding, and they had opened their minds, it was beautiful. So I will read to you from the Living Values Education Activities book for children 8 to 14. So just let yourself relax for a few minutes, whether you're at home or whether you're in your office or whether you're taking a beautiful walk outside. Let your mind relax. Let your body relax and be peaceful. So, a wonderful thing about people your age is that each one of you knows about peace. I'd like to start our unit by asking you to use your mind to imagine a peaceful world. Let yourself be very still. I want you to picture in your mind a beautiful big bubble. This bubble is so big that you can step inside. It's like a small, silent plane that you can travel in to imagine going into the future, to a better world. You step inside the bubble and float to that world that is completely peaceful. The bubble rests on the ground of this world when you step out. What does it look like there? Imagine how you would feel. How does nature look? What is the air like? How do the houses, the buildings look? Take a walk around a lake. Let yourself feel how peaceful that place is and how you feel. Look in the lake and see your reflection. You can feel your body relaxing in this peaceful place. As you pass by a group of people, notice the expressions on their faces and how they relate to one another. You see a group of young people your age playing. What are they doing? How are they treating each other? Soon a couple of them see you. They smile and call to you to come over and join them. You spend some time with them. Soon it's time to go and you say goodbye. And they wave as you step back into your bubble plane to return here. The bubble floats back to this time and this place. As you experience yourself seated here, the bubble disappears, leaving you with a feeling of stillness within. I hope you enjoyed.
But it was a wonderful experience to go in that bubble. I was into that world where everybody is happy, even nature, even birds, animals. I felt that peace, and I wish our young kids also feel that peace going to their school, their community.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And the purpose of all of this is so people can create that and co-create that, be it in schools or in communities or in organizations. But yes, to start with that exercise, and afterwards people can share their experiences in a large group or in a small group. Little tiny kids, which they have a simpler exercise. They can just draw one thing like a fish or a flower and cut those out and use them to decorate a peace tent that they can make at their little. Or older ones can draw a picture of a peaceful world or write a poem or a few lines about what it would feel like. And then the next lesson is on mind mapping peace and violence versus violence. And then we actually go into a physical relaxation exercise the next time that you can meet with children. And then doing something artistic and creative, such as drawing. And then there is another peace exercise where they fill themselves with peace. And then we ask them about school. Would you like to increase peace at school? And that's where you mention bullying for the first time. So next time, let's talk about bullying. We'll talk during our podcast, if you'll bear with me, about two things. Primarily, we'll talk about how you can deal with bullying, but I would also like to address the nurturing with love and wisdom, how to make sure that we're not creating bullies.
That will be awesome, Dan, because I wanted to tell you one mother reached out to me and she has a 11-year-old child and she was sharing with me her experience. Her child did experience a bully at school. He doesn't have any friends and he's dealing with mental health challenges, being therapist for more than 3 years now. The child is feeling left alone and behind and not performing good. My children did not experience that bully, and I would really love to get that education. What is bullying? Why do people do that? And what can we teach our young generation to stay strong and avoid that kind of bullying? So I'm looking forward to learning from you, but I do believe this is a good topic to talk about because our younger generation, even sometimes to be honest, at workplace also, I do feel there are few people who can, get benefit from our podcast, and I'm not sure that kind of aggressive behavior and make other people feel rather loved and respected. So thank you so much, Diane, for introducing today's piece and that exercise. And I'm looking forward to have future conversation with you about this bullying and how do we help our community to deal with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Primus. It was a pleasure to have this with you, as always. Have a wonderful week.
You are listening to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation. As part of our youth series, we will be releasing new episodes every weekend, so make sure to continue to check those out. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much for listening.